Hello, folks. This is the Primetime Fantasy Podcast. If you're looking for another fantasy podcast, you're in the wrong place. But this is the best amateur fantasy podcast that you will find on the interwebs and all of YouTube, so you're in the right place. Welcome to the Primetime Fantasy Podcast. My name is Garrett. I have Nick here with me, and we're going to go through Week 6. We're going to try to go a little quicker this week. You can see the time at the bottom. You'll see if we're successful or not. First, getting into the teams that are on bye. Bills are on bye. If you have Josh Allen, that's probably the only people. And John Brown as well, the only people that affects. Bears, other than David Montgomery and A-Rob, probably not many people affected by that. Trubisky's still garbage. The Colts, Brissett looks like a real starter, real someone that you can not start every single week,
he's a streaming option most weeks.
Right, but he's like a legitimate roster spot now. Yeah. Like some people were
you hold on to him and not just because if he's in waivers, he'll probably be picked up by now.
Yeah,
especially with Baker Mayfield struggling and all the other quarterbacks. So
right, Marlon Mack owners and T.Y. Hilton. If you own Paris Campbell, I can't imagine many people do, but if you do, it affects you as well. Jack Doyle and Eric Ebron, can't imagine many people own them at this point as well. Unless they're backup options for certain weeks. Raiders, Derek Carr still as soft as baby poo.
He does not have any of these written down. He's just coming up with them off the top of his head right
now. Josh Jacobs, that'll affect Josh Jacob owners.
Jacobs has been looking good lately.
He's still averaging 5 yards a run, isn't he?
He overperformed. I didn't think he would be able to do that well against the Bears defense.
Neither did I.
Yeah, he showed why he was a first-round pick, so his fantasy value is definitely high right now.
Yeah.
He's looking like a good RB2 on most league formats.
What would it take for you to trade for him?
Well, I already own him, so...
Well, I mean, trade him away.
It'd have to take a wide receiver one.
Really?
Yeah.
He has that upside, though. Yeah, because his best wide receivers
are technically more valuable than wide receivers.
I agree.
You can find a Will Fuller or some streaming option. I got DJ Shark. And you can find those guys. You can't really find those running backs,
I agree.
They don't make that many
unless
guys
some guy gets injured, right? Yeah.
Right. They don't make many guys where you can go pick him up off waivers, and he's an elite player for you. So I think, and you could probably get a wide receiver one because most people have a couple good receivers, and they're probably stressed out at running back. And I think it's a good time to put his value to the test and try to see if you can get something that your team needs.
Right. And then Tyrell Williams, he's, good flex option, good wide receiver too. He's been doing real well. And then Darren Waller, who is...
He's been a top 5 tight end in fantasy
Yeah,
this year.
And he's the number one option on that team. Really surprising, but, good to see him doing well. And those are all the teams it affects. Going into the games, we're not going to talk about the Giants and Patriots because... by the time you're listening to this, the game's already happened.
We'll give our game prediction at least. I think it's pretty easy that we're both picking the Patriots.
Yep.
I don't think...
It's a 17-point spread.
I think this is a game where it's at least a 3-score game.
Yeah.
I don't see the Patriots not blowing them out, so...
Yeah, and I think you should just play Eli Manning just to make sure that Daniel Jones does not get injured.
I wouldn't bench Jones.
I know, I'm just messing.
I think it's going to be tough because the Patriots' defense is... They're always stout on defense, and this year they're even better. But
yeah,
I think it's going to be a tough matchup. The Giants are without Barkley, without Evan Ingram. It's important to note that he was out. Obviously, if you're listening to this now, it's already a little late for that. But
yeah,
he's out, so it's not a good matchup for the Giants. This could get ugly. We'll get into the first matchup here, Garrett. The Panthers at the Bucks
in London, so it's really not at the Bucks, but
is this a 9:30 a.m. game?
This is a 9:30 a.m. game.
Yeah, so now you're gonna have to really check your lineup setting to make sure if
Saturday
you're a questionable
night,
player, then you got to wake up early to make sure you don't play a questionable.
McCaffrey
player.
was questionable. Now he's not because he practiced in full on Thursday, and there's something to do with his back.
He'll most likely play. I don't see that.
And that's what it was looking like as well. I added the
might just
handcuff just in case.
You're carrying the load on offense. Take some time off during the week.
Right.
Go to the quarterback situation, Garrett. Are you streaming Kyle Allen? Is he a streaming option for you?
No, the Buccaneers defense is better than what the stats say and what people project them to be. And it's the same thing with the Panthers defense. So I don't look at Kyle Allen or Jameis Winston as legitimate streaming options for this week. Do you disagree with that or?
No, Kyle Allen to me is not a high level streaming option. He's not someone, if I'm looking on waivers, he's probably the third or fourth choice at quarterback for me. So I would not be looking to run him out there. This offense runs through McCaffrey and Allen. Their teams are winning, but it's been because of their defense and McCaffrey. So
Yeah.
I think Allen's getting a little hype because they're winning, but for fantasy options, he just doesn't produce anything worthwhile on your fantasy team.
Yep.
Running back, obviously, we're starting McCaffrey. There's not much to get into there other than if he plays. If he, obviously you're not playing him out there if he's out, but
I think he's definitely going to play, like 99% chance.
yeah, but if he does miss the game, then you're not playing him, obviously.
Yep. He's the MVP in real life and in fantasy, in my opinion.
For your fantasy team, that's 3-2.
Hey, listen, we're not as bad as we look, all right?
Tight end Greg Olsen, Garrett, what is your thoughts for him?
If you own Greg Olsen, I feel sorry for you. But, he's not been that bad so far.
The disrespect. I thought I was harsh a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about, some of the quarterbacks.
Hey, one of the legends of the league, Greg Olsen, name to know, but
not a appealing option for you.
I think he'll do good. He's still, he tight end 1. If you have him, you might as well start him.
Well, you made it sound at the beginning like he was like nothing.
Well, he's pretty old, so I don't,
Well, you like old players. You like Adrian Peterson, remember?
Well, I like yards after catch when it comes to tight ends, and Greg Olsen, grandpa legs, might need a cane out there.
All right, I'm not going to be that disrespectful. Greg Olsen he's actually been better than advertised.
He has been better than advertised.
He's a low-end tight end 1 for me.
I agree.
Quickly getting the wide receivers. I think you can flex Samuel and DJ Moore. They both look good.
Yep.
And I think they've been playing better than they did at the start of the year when Cam was injured. What are your thoughts on those two guys?
I agree. Nothing to disagree about there.
All right, getting into the Buccaneers. To me, Jameis Winston, don't love the matchup because Carolina's actually been good on defense and they run the ball a lot, so they control the clock. So there's it's not going to be a shootout passing game, so I don't see a streaming option here for Winston. I wouldn't feel comfortable playing him, but if you got a guy on bye, if you got guys that are struggling and you don't
Panthers are a top 10 defense in the league, I would not play him. I'll just throw that out there.
All right.
Ronald Jones. Again, one of the better defenses out there. Not too comfortable streaming Jones. If you need him as a flex option, go ahead. He might get you a touchdown. But other than that, I
like Jones more than I like Peyton Barber.
No, yeah, I agree. I think he's the number one guy in
that. He's kind of like a vulture now. Like his value comes if he gets a touchdown run. Like he's only getting 5 carries a game, and the only worry now is just don't steal the rushing touchdown from Jones.
Right.
So I think that's a pecking order for running backs. Wide receivers, obviously.
Mike Evans
is a plug-and-play starter.
He was held to a goose egg last week. I don't think that'll happen again.
Regardless of goose eggs or not, him and Hopkins has been struggling a little bit. Those kind of guys, you're not benching them. It just doesn't happen. Chris Godwin's look phenomenal, and this comes to no surprise to most of the fantasy
He's
world.
outsnapped Evans as far as I know. He looks good.
Well, he looks amazing.
Yeah.
He's a top 5 fantasy receiver right now, production-wise.
Yep.
So if you got him in the 5th round, 4th, 5th round, then you are
perfect.
Your team is looking good then. O.J. Howard.
Drop him.
You would drop him.
I would drop him.
The offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, he said that he likes what he sees from Howard. I feel like they're going to have to get him involved at some point because you can't finish the year with just no involvement in the offense. They used a high draft pick on him. Obviously, Godwin, Evans is the pecking order there, but Howard, I still think there's something there. And the tight end landscape is absolutely terrible. If you don't have one of the top 5 guys, and you're really just trying to find guys, and I would not want to go drop him and pick some other dart throw. I would rather stick with the talent that is O.J. Howard. And
if there's a guy like Gerald Everett or one of these guys who's getting a lot of targets, I would drop him. He only got 2 targets last game. It's been pretty consistent with the small amount of targets every game. Simply put, the passing game is going to run through Godwin and Evans, and occasionally that third receiver whose name I'm forgetting right now. I just don't see O.J. Howard having as much upside as what Nick's presenting here.
That's about it, Garrett. Who are you taking to win this game?
I'm taking
pick first.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bucks on this one. Panthers are a good team. This is going to be one of the closer games of the week, and I think the Bucks' talent doesn't match up with the Panthers, but I think if they get the last drive, they're going to be able to score. And I think they have the better passing attack as well.
I'm going to take the Panthers. I'm assuming that Christian McCaffrey plays here. If he doesn't, then obviously my pick doesn't hold weight. But it looks likely that he's going to play. So I'm taking the Panthers. McCaffrey's been on fire lately. Kyle Allen's doing just enough to keep the offense on the field and moving. Their defense, like you said, has been top 10 this year. Winston he's been prone to turn the ball over, and I think the Panthers sneak away with the win.
And they could easily sneak away with the win. All right, up next, I didn't realize the Super Bowl happened in October. We have the Redskins at the Dolphins.
Okay, hold on a second. You already made your pick. You wrote down your picks. I'm just wondering, what went through your thought process? Because, you're thinking, okay, the Dolphins are playing. I'm going to pick against them. But, it's the Redskins. It's not much better. They just fired their head coach. Their quarterback situation's in scramble. They're going back to Case Keenum. For now, it could, maybe
I think
in the game they could go back to Colt McCoy. They could go to Haskins in the fourth quarter. Who knows? What went into your thought process on this game?
Everything you just said there, and I think Josh Rosen has been playing better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. The offense, even though it still sucks, looks better than it did under Fitzpatrick. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a fun game to watch if you're a fan of either of these teams. Because I don't think this will be on national television, but
imagine the broadcasters giving this game are you kidding me? I guess I go to the production meeting. All right, I guess we're the 17th out of 17th crew in this industry. Normally they hand the bigger games out to the higher level.
Yeah, like Joe Buck and all that. Yeah, but
forgot about him. Normally they go through. Okay, you get this game this week. Imagine oh man, we really know where we sit in the pecking order. We're broadcasting the Redskins at the Dolphins. We got a total of 5,000 fans watching. It's not even on national TV.
Whoever loses this
we're
game,
on Fox Sports Miami down here playing football.
Yeah. Whoever loses this game,
I don't even know who to pick here. Can I just say? Can I take a pass on here?
You cannot take a pass. I made a pick.
All right, what? I think the Dolphins just suck more than the Redskins. I'll take the Redskins.
Hey, you know what?
And
picks.
We're not talking about fantasy players here because there is none. That's how I learned.
Kenyon Drake, if you need a streaming option,
way.
Kenyon Drake might be flex option for streaming. Other than that, Terry McLaurin should play this week. He's another option as well.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on a second. There is two fantasy options for me here. Two of them.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm starting the Redskins defense.
Yeah.
They're not anything special, but the Dolphins are.
I tried to pick them up on waivers.
They're not anything special either.
Yeah.
So, the Dolphins are probably a top 5 defensive play this week, special teams. And I just got done bashing him, but Case Keenum is a capable quarterback, and I just think the Dolphins suck. So I would consider Case Keenum as one of my top streaming options at quarterback. I don't love it, but he has options there. McLaurin, Chris Thompson. I think the Redskins are a better football team. That doesn't say much because it's the Dolphins, but I think you could stream Case Keenum here.
I don't think he finishes the game. Yards. I'll tell you that. I think, yeah. So
there's nothing on the Dolphins I like. You talked about Kenyon Drake. I just don't like any of that.
He's a streaming option. That's all I'm gonna say. Getting into our next game, the Eagles at the Vikings, 1 p.m. game. This is gonna be a fun game to watch. I think for Eagles fans at least. I'm not a big Vikings guy myself. As everybody knows, Kirk Cousins stinks, and we'll just get into the Vikings offense first.
Track of thought after
so this is going to be a game that's have more passing than there is running. Dalvin Cook always a starting option. Don't even second guess that. Stephon Diggs, depending on how he plays, whether he plays or not, what his situation looks like. I am not comfortable playing him, and I think Adam Thielen, and I. He's yelling.
What about Adam Thielen?
I think Adam Thielen's wide receiver 2 flex option in this game.
All right, I'll quickly get into the Vikings offense here since you rambled on through there.
Sorry.
I'm not starting Kirk Cousins.
Neither am I.
Well, I take that back. He's a streaming option because the Eagles' secondary is very bad. The Eagles are very good against the run. I think they will continue to be good. I'm not benching Dalvin Cook, but this is a game where you could get away with streaming Kirk Cousins. We joke about how bad he is and how much money he makes, but this is a situation where the Eagles' pass secondary is terrible, and they looked good last week because they played a fourth-string quarterback in Luke Falk. So
Okay.
you can stream Cousins here. Cook is to me is an RB2 this week. He's not his normal elite running back because the Eagles are very good against the run. They've stopped a lot of good running backs this
Every
year.
running back you can think of.
Stephon Diggs I like because of the secondary. I like Diggs and Thielen because the secondary is brutal. I don't love Kyle Rudolph. He's not the same player he used to be. And
Yeah.
I think you can you're not starting Alexander Madison here because the matchup's bad. Getting into Eagles, Garrett, Carson Wentz, what's your thoughts on him?
This is a tough matchup for him because it is the Vikings defense. I think this is a perfect time to kind of buy low on Carson Wentz. And especially, before and after this week. Before this week, not the greatest quarterback in the world, at least in fantasy terms. And then he might be even lower in the, chart after this Vikings game. So I think, but he has a schedule near playoff time that's like, it's something like at the Giants, versus Washington and then the Dolphins or something like that. He is a really favorable playoff schedule. If you can try to this might be the perfect time to trade for him and, buy low on him. If you're a Carson Wentz owner, don't give up yet. Just kind of get some guys to stream you, get you through this rough patch.
Yeah, it's not a good matchup this week. He's, to me, low on quarterback one. It's a tough matchup.
Yeah. At running back, Jordan Howard. I'm not a big Jordan Howard fan. He's a flex option for me.
Jordan Howard, to me, flex option for me. I like him more in standard than I do in point per reception leagues.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders, I like.
Agreed.
He's, to me, a flex option, but he's a better flex appeal option in PPR. Seems like he's always having like a 20, 30-yard catch every week, so you like that floor there for him in the receiving game.
Yeah, and then Deshaun Jackson won't play this week.
He's out?
He's doubtful as of right now.
So that means he probably won't play.
He's most likely not going to play. And
Alshon Jeffrey, when healthy, he's a plug-and-play guy, but it's not a great matchup because I'm assuming he'll get put up against Xavier Rhodes, so to me, he's a low-end wide receiver too, but he's their best option in the passing game other than Zach Ertz. So
yeah, Zach Ertz must start, of course. Nelson Aguilar still can't catch. And then
but can he save babies?
I don't know.
Would you want to toss your baby out the window to Nelson Aguilar? Or the Eagles fan that dissed him. I would throw it to the Eagles fan.
I'd throw it to the fire guy. Yeah, fireman. God, no, that's the Eagles fan.
Yeah, the Eagles fan.
Yeah.
The one that decided
Never mind.
in the heat of the moment he decided to
Nick, who are you picking for this week?
I have the Vikings at home against the Eagles.
Why?
Minnesota has a clear home field advantage every week. They're a tough place to play. Obviously I think Kirk Cousins is limited, but I like the Vikings overall defense. They have a good balance of front seven and secondary, better than the Eagles. The Eagles have a really good front seven, but their secondary is one of the 5 worst in the league. So I like the Vikings here at home. It should be a pretty safe pick here.
I agree. Well, I don't agree. I'm gonna pick the Eagles here.
I think I changed your mind while I was talking. You changing your mind?
I usually agree with usually you have good picks, but I'm taking the Eagles on this one.
Who's winning at picks? Is it me or you?
I'm winning in picks.
I thought you just said I was.
No, you won last week. By the way, everybody, I am 27-19 in the picks. Nick is 24-22 in the picks. So
I'm just getting warmed up.
Oh, okay. I see it. All right, you're okay. So I'm taking the Eagles in this game. I think I like the idea of them just overall being a better team than the Vikings. Yes, like the Vikings defense is better as a unit, but I think Kirk Cousins stinks, and he's gonna find himself pretty limited to the pass rush of the Philadelphia defense.
Texans at the Chiefs. We'll get into the Texans really quick. We'll get into Deshaun Watson first. Obviously, he had a monster game last week.
Yeah.
He had a perfect quarterback rating.
I think so.
I think it was 100. Yeah, I think perfect quarterback rating is 158.3.
And he won't be perfect this week, but it'll get pretty close. Chiefs defense.
I mean, a perfect quarterback rating is not something that happens all the time. But Watson obviously is a great play this week. Even if they get down, even if they lose the game, that doesn't matter. The Chiefs secondary is not anything to write home about. And Deshaun Watson is the type of player that he can have the week he had last week. And I don't see a low floor here because even in a bad game, which he had a couple weeks ago against the Jaguars, he can still run and get you the rushing touchdown. So
Yeah.
he's doing everything. He is a top 2 fantasy quarterback right up there with Mahomes.
I agree. And Carlos Hyde is someone who I think is a streaming option. I think he's
Yeah,
more of a-
I
think
agree
he's a
with you
sleeper.
because I think the Texans, obviously they have the firepower to compete with Kansas City, but they also want to, you've seen what Kansas City's been affected by the last couple weeks against the Lions and the Colts is keeping Mahomes off the field. It also keeps they have a bad defense, the Texans. So if you can keep that defense off the field and hold them to 8 possessions instead of 13, then you're doing your defense justice there.
Agreed. And
Duke Johnson, PPR, you can plug and play him. He's nothing special, but a flex option in PPR.
agreed. And DeAndre Hopkins must start every week.
I think he's in for a bounce back week. He had
Agreed.
a poor game for his standards, but
Yeah.
I think he's in for a bounce back week. Will Fuller, he had a great game. He had over 200 yards and 3 scores. Don't see that happening again. Obviously, you can't project.
He's still a good option though.
Yeah, he is what he is. He's like the Deshaun Jackson. He's either going to be very good or very poor. Like I don't see him having a 5-catch 70-yard game.
Yeah.
It's either 6 catches over 100 yards and a touchdown, or it's 1 catch for 30 yards. So, he's a flex option for me. But I like the matchup. I'm not. He's a very high flex option for me.
Yeah. And that's the offense for the Texans.
I'm not interested in their tight ends,
No.
Atkins or Darren Fells. I'm not interested in them.
Mahomes, quarterback 1. Texans defense is,
Very bad.
very bad.
Yeah, very
I was going to
bad.
say average, but I wouldn't,
No, you've seen what Matt Ryan did to them last
Well,
week.
Matt Ryan, had a
And now
pretty
they're
good
going
game.
into Kansas City. It's home field advantage.
I
for
agree.
Kansas
Okay,
City.
yeah.
This is going to be a matchup.
You're right on
where
that one.
Mahomes has no problem passing the ball.
Yeah. Damian Williams, some, breaking news alert. I just traded Devontae Freeman for Damian Williams. Obviously, he's not had the best season up to this point. He missed 2 weeks due to, might have been a hamstring. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Don't quote him on
Don't
that.
quote me on
He just traded for a guy who he didn't know what his injury was.
Right, but okay. So, but I think he's going to be the number 1 back, especially in PPR. He's going to be the receiving back on that team. Yeah, he's still going to split snaps with LaShawn McCoy, but I think LaShawn McCoy is going to get...
LaShawn McCoy didn't even have a carry last week, which is obviously good for Williams and concerning for McCoy owners. So
Right.
I think Williams is obviously the best running back to own in that backfield. He's going to be the most valuable one, and I think like what you're talking about, I think he's definitely got some value now because McCoy, while the weeks that Williams was out was getting 11, 13 carries a game, somewhere in there, and still involved in the pass game, McCoy had 0 carries last week. So that's good news for Williams owners, poor news for McCoy owners.
And I think he's going to get the ball in the pass game a lot. I think he'll be involved in the passing plays more. Tyreek Hill, I don't think he won't be back this week.
I don't think he'll be back this week. I don't see any reason why they should rush him. They're
Neither do I.
gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna win their division. The Chargers are struggling. The Broncos are they're struggling. And obviously the Raiders are a feel-good story right now, but they're not going to win that division. It's just not going to happen. The Chiefs can walk into 11, 12 wins. Obviously they want to compete with New England to try to get home field advantage, but there's no need to rush Hill back. You need him in the playoffs because he's their best playmaker.
Yeah. Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson.
Flex options.
All flex options,
Yep.
wide receiver 3s.
Sammy Watkins, to me, he started out really hot, and now he's hard guy
He's
to
cooled
judge.
off, yeah.
But I'm still playing him because if he's healthy,
Flex
he's
option,
always.
yep.
It seems like every week he's questionable. I think he's questionable right now, but he's flex option for me.
Agreed. And then Travis Kelce, number 1 tight end every week.
I wouldn't go as far as say number 1 every week, but he's definitely a top 3.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. You know what I mean. You know what I
Well, he
mean?
hasn't
He's
lived up to the Travis Kelce of old. Defenses are double teaming him. It's a real thing.
Yeah, if you
as a Travis Kelce owner, I can attest to this. Like, he's not producing the way that he normally does.
Okay.
But a bad week for him, 70 yards. So you'll take that, but he's not been that elite. You draft him in the end of the first round, second round type of guy.
All right, who are you picking in this one?
I'm taking the Chiefs. I'd love to go with the upset here, but I just think the Texans' defense is just
Brutal.
one of the 5 worst defenses in football. So, obviously I'm a big fan of Deshaun Watson, but I don't see them putting up 50 points in this game. So
Agreed.
I think the Chiefs win, and they probably win handily. Even if the Texans put up 30 points,
Yeah, I forgot-
I just don't see them stopping them.
I forgot what the line was, but yeah, that's It'll be like about a touchdown or if not more.
Who do you have in this one?
I have the Chiefs as well. Agreed with everything you said. I think the Texans just aren't as good of a team to keep up with the Chiefs. Obviously, I thought about that about the Colts, but we saw the Colts beat the Chiefs this past week, and a lot of teams are going to try to do the same formula that Matt Patricia and the Lions defense did a few weeks ago to kind of bracket Travis Kelce and keep Mahomes off the field, run the ball a lot. I just don't think the Texans have the talent to do the same things that the Colts and Lions were able to do.
Yeah, and this one I would not be shocked if the Texans won just because their offense is so good, and I'm high on Watson, so I wouldn't be shocked if the Texans won, but I would be surprised, I guess you would say. I think the Chiefs would win this pretty handily.
Yep.
Getting into the next game, Garrett, the Saints at the Jaguars. Teddy Bridgewater actually played well last week. He had over 300 yards, but that was against the Buccaneers. Do you see him? The last report I saw is Jalen Ramsey was probable to play this week. So I think
he's still in his contract situation where he wants to trade, and Jacksonville is just not willing to budge. I would stock down though on Bridgewater. I don't see 4 touchdowns, and I don't see like a great game out of him, especially against this defense. I think they're going to try to, confuse him and throw a lot of, 5, maybe 6 rushers, some plays a lot. I say some plays a lot, anyways. Alvin Kamara, good play. You agree with me on Bridgewater, right? Or
yeah, I don't love the matchup. If Ramsey plays, it's even tougher for him. Yeah, you were talking about Kamara.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a plug and play. He hasn't blown up the way we had thought he would. He's had 2 blow up weeks.
I think he blows up more with Drew Brees, and that's why I think.
Yeah, I think it affects him more than Thomas. Actually been playing well, but getting into Kamara, I just looked at his game log. He's had 2 great weeks, meaning over 20 points, and he's had 1 okay week, which is double digit. And he's had 2 poor weeks, which is under 10 points in PPR. So
yeah,
he's not been the top 3 pick you would expect, but he's still a top 3 fantasy talent. And this isn't a lovely matchup, but he's gonna have to be relied on here, especially if Ramsey plays and they put Ramsey on Thomas. So
yeah, I don't think Ramsey plays, but if he does, Michael Thomas would be a bit limited in that matchup.
But you're still playing Thomas.
I'm still playing Thomas. Yeah.
So.
Just talking about expectations, of course.
Caution in the wind. If Ramsey does play, it's going to be harder on Thomas, especially with the limited quarterback compared to Drew Brees.
Yep. Who's their number 2 receiver?
Number 2, Ted Ginn is not a. I don't love any of their other options at wide receiver.
I thought there was another guy. Yeah.
Traquan Smith, I don't love.
Jared Cook.
He had a touchdown last week.
Yeah, so it might be a streaming option this week. Yeah.
If you're desperate at tight end, you could throw a dart there. I mean, after you get past the 5 or 6 tight ends that are valuable in fantasy football, there's no sure bets there. So if Jared Cook is available, you could throw a dart there. And especially when Drew Brees returns, I think he becomes way more valuable than he is right now.
Right. And that's the Saints offense. Going into the Jaguars, you could stream Gardner Minshew and do.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he would be my stream of the week this week.
Stream of
the week at quarterback position.
Do you not? Is it because of Minshew or is it because of the Saints defense?
It's because of both. Minshew's actually surprised me. Like I kind of after the first couple of games, I was like, I wasn't really totally bought into it. Like
I bought in.
Yeah, like that. Like I wasn't like. I guess I don't hate the player, but I didn't love the player. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like. Some people it's just like I love this guy. I can't stop rooting for this guy.
Right.
I don't feel one way or the other. I just kind of was objective, and I was just like I don't see him being great. And he's actually been very good, even in a bad game where he fumbles a couple times. He's actually had a rushing floor. He had over 20 yards rushing last week.
Yeah.
He's got a good matchup here. The Saints have a very good pass rush, but their secondary is poor. And Lattimore's played better, but other than that, there's nothing there. And the game's in Jacksonville. If this game was in New Orleans, I would not be comfortable there because New Orleans is one of the 3 best home field advantages in football. But at home, Jacksonville, the Saints' defense isn't very good. I could see Gardner Minshew being a very good streaming option this week.
Yeah, and I partially agree with you there. I think the Saints' defense is a little better. I think Marshawn Lattimore's got to be accounted for, but yeah, I agree with you.
I like their pass rush. He could get sacked and fumbled a couple times, but
yeah,
I don't see him throwing 3 picks this game.
Neither do I.
Their secondary is just not that elite.
Yep. Leonard Fournette, you're starting
He's
him.
been very good last
Yeah.
2 weeks. He had a dud that week against Tennessee on Thursday night, where in the fourth quarter he had like negative yards rushing on over 10 carries. But after that, I think he's kind of awoken here, and he's been very good the last 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
I like the matchup here at home. They're gonna run the ball. He's averaging 20 carries plus a game. So I like the matchup there for Fournette.
Yep, and DJ Shark, I would not start him this week. I think
You wouldn't.
Lattimore's going to put a blanket over him. I think
You would not start Shark.
I would not start Shark. I think
I think he's just.
if he's a flex option, maybe like if you need something at receiver. But I think he held Mike Evans to nothing last week, and you can pull up all the stats you want. He's on his phone. He's about to pull up a bunch of stats on DJ Shark, which you can do that, and it's just Marshawn Lattimore has stopped every top receiver that's come his way. He didn't. No, I was gonna say Keenan Allen, but he didn't play Keenan Allen. I'm thinking of another guy.
You're thinking of Amari Cooper. He
Him?
held Amari Cooper to like.
And they played the
40 yards.
Falcons already, didn't they? I was gonna say Julio Jones, but he's
Put
held
me on the
another.
spot here.
I know. I'm sorry, but and DJ Shark just is not as good as some of those other guys. Or doesn't have the same star power, in my opinion. Marshawn Lattimore is gonna put a blanket over him. I think this guy you really want to stream is D.D. Westbrook. I think he's gonna be the guy that goes unnoticed, and if he has a long, he's more of a big play guy than he is catch a slant route and run it up. I think he's more of a Hollywood Brown, catch a deep pass, get his touchdown probability. So he's a good streaming option if you need a wide receiver to put at flex. I think that's going to be your guy. And then I think his name's James O'Shaughnessy at tight end for the Jaguars. Not the best option in the world, but if you want a dart throw, he had a touchdown I think last week. If not,
Just a dart throw is what you're saying.
yeah,
A dart throw with your weak hand.
you don't like James O'Shaughnessy?
No, I was just trying to come up with some silly pun.
Yeah. But when it comes to the Jaguars offense, I like the idea that DJ Shark will do well. I just don't see it.
You were talking about these two receivers. I'll get into. You're looking over here. I have both players pulled up, and this is their season statistics right now. They both have 37 targets, so same work share, I guess you could say, as far as target share, I guess. DJ Shark has 27 catches to Westbrook's 23. Shark has 485 receiving yards to 227, and it's a 5-1 touchdown difference for Shark and Westbrook. And I don't think Shark is a guy that is a flash in the pan. He's been good all year.
Neither do I.
I think he's a wide receiver 2 this week. I like Lattimore, but I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of him like I would be Richard Sherman or.
He's a DJ Shark owner. That's why he's trying to advocate for him.
I mean, I am, but I'm not. No, I mean, we'll come back to this next week.
All right.
I think he has a good week this week. Double-digit points, easy.
Easy. I don't think he gets held to 0, but I would be surprised if he had more than 2 catches on the day.
You'd be more than 2 catches.
More than 2 catches. I'll just Lattimore is basically a blanket. He's like when you put a blanket over
Marshawn Lattimore.
Well, when you put a blanket over a horse's head and the horse doesn't know where he's at, that's basically DJ Shark this week.
All right. I'm
telling you right now.
I have him in that 20 to 24 range, so low on wide receiver 2, and he's got upside. He has multiple games of 2 scores this year and over 100 yards, so that's the upside.
Any other week, he's done really well. He's going to play really. I don't know who the Jaguars play next week, but I imagine he'll do well against his next opponent. But I just don't see him doing well this week.
Getting into Westbrook, you could flex him. He's not a bad option.
I think for wide receiver, he's the stream of the week.
I like him more in PPR because I just don't trust Westbrook getting in the end zone. He's just, to me, he's a lot like Golden Tate, almost the exact same player, like a replica. Like if you took the 2 players and put them side by side, they'd look at, maybe not their look, but I'm saying the way they play football.
Yeah.
If you just had if you took the name off the back of their jersey and you said, watch these 2 players, I think they're very comparable players.
Okay.
So he's a good stream option for me.
And your thoughts on Shaughnessy?
Tight end, dart throw. Who's your pick this week?
I'm picking the Saints. This is also going to be one of the closer games of the week, but I think Teddy Bridgewater has played very well against some of the tougher opponents, and I think this is going to be a week where I don't know if it's Kamara that comes out alive, but I think one of these top guys, or Bridgewater for the Saints is able to do it. I wouldn't be upset at you if you picked Gardner Minshew and the Jaguars. I think they could easily win this game too. I wouldn't bet on this game if I had money. Yeah,
If I
I would not use money to bet on this game because I think it's gonna be one of the closer games of the week. But yeah,
I'm taking the Saints as well. I just believe in their head coach Sean Payton and
Agreed,
what they got
yeah.
going on. It seems like their team's rallying around Drew Brees being out, and the national narrative saying this team isn't making the playoffs, they're done.
Right.
This narrative that they've had 2 heartbreaking losses in the playoffs, they can't keep going. Right, they're worn out. But they're just a well-coached team. I don't love their secondary, but their pass rush is elite. Cameron Jordan's one of the better pass rushers. I think they force a couple turnovers here. Minshew's still kind of a uncertain starter, meaning he doesn't have a full season, 16 games under his belt. Kamara and Thomas are 2 elite playmakers. I think the Saints win this game. Getting into the Seahawks-Browns, Garrett, the Seahawks, we'll get into Russell Wilson. How great is Russell Wilson?
He is really great. That game against the Rams where, and he just tossed up, and I thought he was just throwing it out of bounds, and then Tyler Lockett, was in the back corner of the end zone, basically falling over, catching it.
Yeah, I'm not
Probably
gonna
one
lie.
of the greatest
I'm not gonna
throws
lie.
I've seen
When I
this
saw
year.
that in real time, I thought he was throwing the ball away.
Yeah.
But the way the ball was there and the way Lockett was there, he meant to throw that ball. People are saying that that was an accident. There's no way you could put the ball He put the ball where only his player can get it, and that's what they teach people to do. A young quarterback, you don't want to turn the ball over. So when you're on offense, you want to just make if it's going to be incomplete, make
John
sure
Gruden talking
only
here.
your guy can catch the ball, right?
You sound like John Gruden in the quarterback. That's what
I am John. No, but as far as so he threw that ball in double coverage.
Right.
He threw that ball where it was either Ty Lockett's going to catch it or it's going to be an incomplete pass. There was no chance that ball being picked with the angle of the ball and everything. Russell Wilson.
Some people are talking about him being the MVP. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
No, not at all.
At the end of all of his interviews, go Hawks. Real team spirit. That's what I like to see from my quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's definitely this is my opinion.
Yep.
He's definitely a top 3 quarterback in football.
Yeah.
And just take fantasy. He's been top 5 this year too. But I'm saying legit. Do I want this guy on my team? I want this guy on my team. People forget the Seahawks are in a transition, and they're actually doing very well.
Right.
They're transitioning out of the Legion of Boom defense, and people were saying he's carried by Marshawn Lynch and stuff. He's making Chris Carson look
He's
good.
the leader in that team. Yeah.
He's making this team go.
Well-oiled
he's elite.
machine.
He's an elite fantasy quarterback and real-life quarterback. We'll get into Chris Carson right now. How Chris Carson he bounced back too. This is what I love about Pete Carroll. He had the fumbling concerns. A lot of coaches could have just said, you know what? You fumbled the ball a couple of games in a row. We can't trust you, right? We'll go to the other guy. And this is a late-round draft pick they used on him, and they're just trusting their eye talent. The guy is definitely more talented than Rashad Penny. You can see it when he plays. And they didn't go away from him. They actually reinstalled confidence in him, and he's easily a top 15 option at running back.
I agree with you on there. I think he's a running back 1 this week. I said Rashad Penny was going to end up getting more carries at the beginning of the year. I was wrong on that. All right. I admit it. Can't see Penny getting more options.
No, Penny to me is nothing more than a low flex option.
I wouldn't have Penny on your team.
Well, I would have him on my team because he's the best handcuff in football right
That's
now.
a good. Yeah,
because
okay.
if Carson goes down or he does have these fumbling concerns again, Rashad Penny, any running back in this system is worth owning because the Seahawks run the ball like last year they led the league in rushing. This year they're top 5 in rushing. They are going to run the ball. As much as they love Russell Wilson, they don't want him throwing the ball 45 times because they want to preserve him. And they just like controlling the clock and not having their defense exposed for that long. So any running back's good to own. I would definitely be on Rashad Penny as a handcuff option.
Okay. Tyler Lockett.
He's a wide receiver too.
He's getting close to wide receiver 1 range, especially against a struggling Browns defense that doesn't have a whole lot of discipline. I think he's going to have a good week.
And especially if their 2 corners are out, Ward and the name's Greedy Williams. If those guys are out again, that's even better because the Browns, you've seen what the 49ers did. I mean, they did it on the ground, which is why I'm high on Carson this week. But Russell Wilson's still going to get his. So Tyler Lockett is the number 1 option. That pass
Metcalf is a flex option.
I like Metcalf. Obviously, he had the big touchdown against the Rams. He does have that big playability. I just wish he was targeted more.
Yep. Will Dissly is looking like a tight end one now.
He's one of those guys that if you picked him up a few weeks ago when he was on waivers, you are doing well because he looks like a top 5 play at tight end every week now.
Yeah. I'd say more like, top 7, 8, but
yeah,
I see what you mean.
Argue him as like in that 5, 6, 7 area because he's just that good.
Yeah. Going into the Browns, Baker Mayfield looks.
I don't love Baker Mayfield this week. But this is the thing with Baker Mayfield, and I own Baker Mayfield, and I'm holding on to him because of this reason. After this week, he plays the Seahawks, he plays the Broncos, and he plays the Patriots. The next 3 games. I don't love any of those matchups, but after that, he plays Miami twice, or not twice. He has a favorable end of the season schedule. I'm thinking of Josh Allen's schedule. Baker Mayfield is definitely worth owning because from like weeks 11 to 17 is just really good for him.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely still holding on to him because
I wouldn't drop him.
He plays
either.
Cincinnati. He has good matchups end of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely in on Baker Mayfield long term, but I don't like him the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and this team is just starting to fall apart. It seems like under Freddie Kitchens. I'll throw a hot take out there. I don't see Freddie Kitchens.
You think
next year as a coach?
Scapegoat, because there's too much talent on this team to be this bad, right?
Well, I wouldn't say he's a scapegoat. I think he is the reason.
But most teams, I know that, but most teams they want to have a reason for everything, right? Like, why didn't it work this year? You have Beckham, you have Landry, you have all these things. It could be the players are just not producing, and they got to go get someone, an offensive coordinator. Someone's got to go most times. So, and the quarterback isn't going, and I don't see them being able to trade Beckham. So
yeah, and I don't think they will trade Beckham. Beckham's a wide receiver too this week, in my opinion. If he gets a few catches, maybe a touchdown, he has value. I would not play Jarvis Landry. Forgot to talk about Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb would be this week. Running back 2, maybe flex.
You're still playing him. He's definitely a top 15 play for me at running back.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
See, I see it differently than you. I think he plays. I think they're understanding that Mayfield's struggling right now, and
so they don't want
to keep. They don't want to keep feeding him into the I guess you could say the Lions' den. Yeah. So I think they rely more on Chubb because you've seen what they did at Baltimore. Baltimore's a good team. They went in there, they ran the ball, they wore that defense down, and they won because of Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like your thinking on that. I think I agree with that going into
what's
Chubb.
your pick here, Garrett?
David Njoku's still on IR, and my pick is the Seahawks. Browns are coming off of a domination after Monday Night Football. The Seahawks had a mini bye, you could say, after that Thursday night game. So they've had a lot more time to prepare for this team. Browns are still kind of in that, emotional, oh, shoot, we're really not that good. Really not that good.
We're like Joe Buck.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm picking the Seahawks to win this one.
Me too. I'm picking the Seahawks. They got the better quarterback. They got the better coach.
Yep.
They got more talent. I think they're very comparable talent on defense. The Browns are actually pretty solid on defense if they are fully healthy.
Yeah.
I just think the Seahawks are better coached and they got the better quarterback.
More time to prepare.
They got a better offense, in my opinion, as far as consistency. They don't have as much talent, but they're more consistent. So I'm taking the Seahawks. The Bengals at the Ravens. We'll get quickly into the Bengals really quick here. Andy Dalton, I don't like this week. Not a good matchup.
No.
Talk about A.J. Green, Garrett. What is the news on A.J. Green?
Yesterday was the first time he practiced since July 27th. Of course, he was limited, and he's not going to play this week. But good news to hear if you're an A.J. Green owner, if you've held on to him for all these weeks. Even if you're 1-5 and your top guy is A.J. Green, it's still pretty good news to hear. So I would imagine he comes back by week 8, if not 7. Maybe he comes back in week 7 as like a decoy, and people will be hyping him up. But so AJ Green, not going to play this week, but good to hear that he's practicing again. Tyler Boyd is again the number 1 receiver on his team. Auden Tate, the number 2 receiver. And I think both of them are flex options this week.
Boyd's better than a flex option. Boyd has been amazing this year.
He has been amazing.
It's not a great matchup if he gets lined up against Marlon Humphrey, but Boyd lines up in the slot. It's got to be close to 50-50, lined up in the slot and outside.
Yep.
Boyd's been amazing this year. He's getting targeted a lot. He's producing. So Boyd to me is a wide receiver too.
He might be a lower end wide receiver too, because I think the matchup.
Okay.
You gave me the all right. Because I think the matchup is bothersome for Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon, getting into him, he is.
See, I don't love Joe Mixon this game.
Neither do
like
I,
Joe
but-
Mixon the player. I just don't like. This is kind of a busted year.
I
I
think
was high
so.
on Mixon, but their offensive line is not. They lost their first round draft pick, Jonah Williams, on the offensive line. Their offensive line is brutal.
Yeah.
And Joe Mixon, if he's not being able to run the ball, it's not because of him. If he's getting hit 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, no one can run. So it's Joe Mixon I'm down on this week. He would be a flex option for me this week. I'm still playing him.
Yeah,
But
we
I'd
have
be
yet to
looking
get
at-
into the dog days of the NFL. Weeks 10 through whatever.
we're a
13.
bad football team, and then you got to rely on their fantasy options, and it's not fun.
Yeah, and so I think Mixon has, a probability to maybe turn it around. I wouldn't give up on him just yet, but Mixon's not looking too hot right now.
No, he's a flex option for me.
Yeah, and then Tyler Eifert, streaming option maybe.
Not for me.
I wouldn't.
He
Yeah.
had a favorable matchup last week against the Cardinals, one of the worst teams against tight ends, and he
Yeah.
didn't do good. So I'm not high on Eifert. It's a flex option.
Neither am I.
Getting into the Ravens, obviously we're both starting Lamar Jackson. He's got the floor
Yeah.
there for rushing. If he has a bad passing game, he can still run the ball. Mark Ingram, I like as a running back too here. The Bengals are nothing special against the run. You've seen what Pittsburgh did,
Yeah.
and what the Cardinals just did last week. Murray and I think this is a great matchup for both Jackson and Ingram because Murray and David Johnson both had good games against them last week.
Yep. I agree with both of you
Passing
there.
game, Marquise Hollywood Brown I like if he's
Yep.
healthy, but you got to make sure he's healthy when
I
you're
think
playing.
flex option.
I don't love any other passing options there other than Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews
If
is.
Mark
yeah,
Andrews is healthy, he's getting targeted a lot. He's a tight end one.
agreed.
Uh,
All of them are going to do. I think the Ravens as a whole are going to do great this week.
yeah, I think
the
they're gonna-
defense is
I
a
think
great
this is
option.
a bounce back after a poor outing last week.
Yep.
I'm going to take the Ravens here, Garrett. What is your pick?
I'm taking the Ravens as well. Pretty easy to see why. Bengals stink, and so does Andy Dalton.
Who's the first? Okay, the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Redskins. Who are either of those teams you think at a real threat of going 0-16? Because I think the Dolphins are at a real threat, but I don't. I still see I have the Redskins winning this week, so obviously that. But I think the Bengals are bad, but they're good enough to win a couple of games. I think
Yeah,
I could see the Dolphins going 0-16. I could.
I don't think the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins will win this week. I guess it depends on whoever wins.
But
this
I
week.
mean probability because you're picking them to win this week, but they got the highest probability out of any of the 0.
If we're talking strictly probability, I think the Redskins, just because they've already fired their head coach. We actually got a live look at their GM's or the front office, and it's actually just one big fire. Like it's just a huge
it's
dumpster
like that, it's like
fire
that
going
picture of a dumpster and there's fire pouring out all angles.
on. That's actually what the front office looked like. We got an inside look earlier this week. So yeah, that's and then the coaching staff. Their TVs don't work. They can't study
The
film.
disrespect.
Dwayne Haskins, they told him to report to the wrong facility.
All right,
So
we're moving on to the next game. 49ers at the Rams. The undefeated San Francisco 49ers.
Surprisingly,
That
yeah,
sounds-
they
that
look
sounds
really
weird.
good. They look really good this year.
Okay, you're not going to disrespect them too?
No, the 49ers look good. The Rams were a field goal kick away from beating the Seahawks.
Yeah, we both picked the Rams last week to win, and we were set up well if the kicker would have made a 40-yarder, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen. So,
Yeah.
quickly getting into this, I like Garoppolo here. I don't love him, but I would start him. He's a low-end quarterback one for me.
I think he's more mid-tier quarterback too, because I think the Rams defense is better than people give it credit for.
You do realize that Jameis Winston went there and put up 50 points on him, right?
Yeah, but
And
that
the
was 1
49ers
week.
The 49ers are rolling right now.
The
Like
49ers are rolling, and the running attack looks great. Breida and Mostert.
Breida and Mostert.
Okay,
You're confusing me. You called him Brahita.
No, it's Breida.
It's Breida.
Breida?
Yeah,
That's
you
all
call
one
him
syllable.
Brahita. There's no H.
Breida. No, it's no H.
You said Brahita.
No, I said
yes, you did.
Breida.
Everyone listen back. You said Brahita.
Breida, because
Like bruh.
because there's
It's
an E and
Breida.
an I. I thought it was
Breida.
Matt Breida.
Yes, there you go. Perfect. There you go. Tevin Coleman actually looked good too.
He's back
his
now.
Return,
Good
for him.
I think he'll do pretty well.
Are you not
rest of
happy
the
with him coming back? You didn't sound too pumped.
No, I think
You said yeah, good for him. It sounded like you played against him and he beat you or something.
No, Tevin Coleman. I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, to put it short and sweet, Coleman and Breida are both good options at running back.
I agree, and I think Breida's one of them's gonna be. I was gonna say he's a wide.
If you could look at him, he's like trying to do the calculations in his. He's like Brahita and.
I think Breida's a running back too. Coleman's a flex option.
Oh, that came out quick. All right.
And then I think that could flip based on whoever is the hot hand. Yeah.
All right. Passing game, obviously, George Kittle's a high-end tight end one.
Agreed.
He finally had a touchdown last week. I don't love their receivers, but I could see you playing Deebo Samuel or Curtis Samuel. Deebo Samuel or Dante Pettis. Both those guys are flex options for me. Kendrick Bourne, I don't love. I that's just dart throws at that point. I'm not desperate enough to do that.
49ers defense looks better than what I expected. Nick Bosa just disrespecting, Baker Mayfield.
Waving the flag.
Waving the flag. Oh, yeah. Just
going back to their college days when Baker Mayfield stuck the Oklahoma flag in the Ohio State logo.
Yeah. That should be a team staple. I think the 49ers should just stick their flag in every team.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they went inside the LA Coliseum and just stuck the flag right in?
Came out 5-0 and the Rams are 2 games under 500.
Jeez.
Getting into Goff here.
I think Goff's a good enough option. I think he's a low-end quarterback.
His passing yards are there to be.
Yeah.
He could throw a couple picks, but he's not what I thought he would be, but he's still a quarterback 1 for me.
He's right around where I thought, he's like that quarterback.
I had
9 to 10.
I had higher expectations. He's regressing from last year. I don't know if it's because Gurley's not the same player, but
I think he's
regressed. He did not look the same.
Gurley,
he's getting the touchdown, so the limited carries, he's still producing. He's
his
still
status,
a running back 2 to me.
Yeah, and his status is up in the air. He did not practice Wednesday, and
I think he'll play.
Sean McVay says that he needs his running backs all the way ready to go before they play. So
you think this could be a game where he doesn't play?
I'd be intrigued.
I think
to see
a divisional
if he plays
game here, they want to win this. If
and
they win
this
game,
is a very important game for the Rams. This
is a home game. The Rams need this game. You don't want to lose to the 49ers, be another game down, and then have to go to San Francisco later in the year. You already lost.
Yeah.
This is an important game. The Rams, they're going to need their running backs in this game, and their passing game's all predicated off of the play action. So they need Gurley this game. If he doesn't go, I'm definitely high on Malcolm Brown. If Gurley misses this game.
Yeah, and Malcolm Brown is available on most waivers. So is Darrell Henderson. So whoever they decide to go after, that would be.
How do you spell his name?
Yeah. So those would be guys that
passing
I would
game.
go.
Cooper Kupp is a top 12 wide receiver every week now.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to draft him in a league where I drafted him in the 6th round, and people were kind of turned off. I was a little bit concerned because he was coming off the ACL injury, but he looks amazing. Mm-hmm. He's the best receiver on that team. I like Cooks, I like Woods, but Cooper Kupp is amazing. I tend to be unbiased because that's just what my opinion is. But how could you not love Cooper Kupp? This guy is amazing.
I know I'm right with you.
I mean, his target share, he's averaging, the last time I checked, he was averaging 12.5 targets a game. He's averaging over 10 targets a game. He's a monster in the slot. You've seen what he did the last couple weeks. He had 17 targets last week. 17 targets.
And that's really
good. And that's not like a Jamison Crowder 17 target game where then he goes back to 6.
Yeah.
He's getting over 10 targets a game. He is the focal point of that passing game.
Agreed.
Brandon Cooks is no scrub and Robert Woods is no scrub, but Cooper Kupp is he's the focal point of that passing.
Cobb's the number one option on that team, and I think when it comes to Woods and Cooks, they're just gonna ride whoever has the. I think one guy's a better week, the other guy like doesn't.
Kinda,
you know what I mean?
yeah, I get
It's
it.
kind of like two-way, two.
But they're all starters.
Oh yeah,
Like
I agree.
It's probably really rare that you own multiple Rams receivers, but if you do,
Yeah.
you can play them both, or you can play two of them because they're just good receivers, and they're all top 30 plays at wide receiver.
I agree.
You
Gerald
were
Everett.
Yeah, you were talking about Everett.
Gerald Everett, one of the best waiver wire ads. I imagine by this point he's already been added by someone on your team. He's looking like a real option to get targets every week, especially with the amount of times that they pass the ball now compared to running. So Gerald Everett, he might get a touchdown. You know, he's definitely going to get his share of targets, share of receptions. He's looking like a real tight end one this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Who do you have winning this game?
I have the 49ers pulling up. I don't know technically if it's an upset. I think the Rams are favored, but I see the 49ers going into
The Rams are favored by, I think, like 1.5, which is weird.
So it's
to me.
not really favorites because a home team is normally given 3 points automatically. This is not like a game where this isn't like the Buccaneers coming to town where they're like 10-point favorites and the Buccaneers win, right?
Yeah.
This is a game where I'm picking the 49ers and I'm not like, this isn't like one of my surprise picks of the week. I think the 49ers are a good team. And I think they can come in there.
And this will be one of my quote-unquote surprise picks of the week. I have the Rams winning, and 49ers are coming off of a Monday night game. Rams are coming off of the Thursday night game, so they get that mini bye. This is very important for them. I think they come in, they realize, hey, you know what, we're at home. If we lose to the 49ers, we're going to look like a bunch of jokes. We're going to, be talked about Monday morning like, oh, the Rams aren't for real anymore.
Yeah.
So we got to come in here. We got to win this game, and I think they're able to pull it out. So I'm taking the Rams in this one. I think they find the motivation to just get her done. Get her done. Get her done down in L.A.
All right, moving on to the next game, Garrett. The Atlanta Falcons traveling to Arizona.
Hey, like I said, I didn't realize the Super Bowl happens in October.
The Falcons they're my overall, like, if I had to pick a team that was most disappointing, it's Atlanta Falcons. I picked them.
I agree.
I thought they were going to be a playoff team this year.
I put Matt Ryan as a top 3 quarterback this year. Yeah.
He's still putting up numbers for fantasy but real life number. This team is a mess, and it's my opinion that their head coach has lost their team. It hasn't helped that there are injuries on defense. They lost Keanu Neal again, but Deion Jones is still there. He's one of the 10 best linebackers in football. They have the same offense. They added Calvin Ridley to a Super Bowl offense. How are they still in a funk? They have not recovered.
I think it might be because they're. I don't know if it's their offensive coordinator or if it's just Dan Quinn, their coach. Just hasn't changed anything since that Super Bowl.
After
win.
the Super Bowl, Kyle Shanahan left. Their offensive coordinator, and since then they've been a disaster.
Yeah.
Devontae Freeman hasn't looked like the same player. Julio Jones is still elite, but it doesn't seem like he's producing every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's weeks where he'll have a 40-yard game. So this is my very surprise pick of the year. Their owner, Arthur Blank, he's getting older. He was at the mountaintop. They were in the Super Bowl. They should have won the game.
You're talking about the owner. This is fantasy football.
I'm just saying. I think Atlanta's a mess.
Martha Ford. Yeah.
I think Atlanta's a mess.
I agree with you.
I think their head coach is not long for the job if they don't turn it around. If they win 4 or 5 straight games and get back in the picture because that South is all contested, then I could eat my words. But I like all the offensive options here because I don't like either defense. So I'm starting Ryan. I love that matchup for him.
I'm starting Kyler Murray.
Julio Jones, Ridley are both starts for me.
Yeah.
Austin Hooper's a start for me.
Freeman is a flex, I think.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit concerned about Ito Smith every week because he does get involved.
They eat into each other's catches. Yeah.
So I'd be concerned about. I would still play Freeman, but it's not a for sure fire. He's going to get you the points.
Yeah, and I'm with you there.
Hooper looks good. He's getting garbage time points at least. Atlanta, I think Kyler Murray's a top 5 play.
Yeah.
This week. He looked very good against Cincinnati. He didn't have a passing touchdown, but he had 90 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know if he puts up 50 like Deshaun Watson did, but,
this is Atlanta. You've seen what Watson did against them. It's in Arizona. The Falcons are going it's another road game back-to-back. They got to travel from Houston. This is a good matchup for Arizona. I like their wide receivers, Kirk and Fitzgerald.
Yep.
I like David Johnson as well.
David Johnson, there's a chance he doesn't play. If he doesn't, I think Chase Edmonds
yeah.
would be the guy to
Oh,
start there.
yeah, definitely.
So he's a waiver wire option as well. He might be
He would
available
be
in
he
our
would be
league.
he would be the Wayne Gallman this week, meaning like if their star running back missed the game, you could plug in Chase Edmonds and he could get you a very good week. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he could be a 6-7 week plug, but this week
Right.
he could get you a very productive week because Edmonds is he's a talented player, but he's behind David Johnson. So
I agree. And
who's your pick here, Garrett?
I'm picking the Cardinals. I think the Falcons continue to ride their funk. Kyler Murray just comes out and thrown all over this team.
Wait, what does he do again?
If David Johnson plays, I think that strengthens their chances a whole lot more because he's a better running back than what that defense could handle, even Deion Jones. I like the Cardinals to win this week. I think, the coaching's better than the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals to win this week.
I'm picking Atlanta. They got a better all-around offense. They got a more experienced quarterback. I just got done saying I like Murray in fantasy, but I'm talking to win this game. I like the offense better in Atlanta. They got better playmakers, and I just think the Cardinals are inexperienced, and Atlanta's desperate. Atlanta has expectations. Cardinals don't.
Which is why I think, never mind. I was gonna
You
make a
thought
point.
you had something smart, but then you're like, oh yeah, the Cardinals.
Well, I was gonna
don't
say
have
like they
expectations.
don't have expectations. It means they can have more fun, but that doesn't matter. So
All right.
I'll stick with the Cardinals. You're taking
Getting into the
Falcons.
Cowboys at the Jets. Sam Darnold looks like he's gonna play. So
I would
that
not
helps.
play him this week.
But I'm not saying I would start him, but I'm saying this helps everything. Because
Yeah.
now you don't have a fourth string quarterback there. It helps Le'Veon Bell. It helps Crowder. It helps everyone on offense.
Yeah,
So I don't know if I like the matchup because the Cowboys
Cowboys are a good
definitely-
defense.
The Cowboys are definitely respectable. So getting into the Cowboys real quick, I like Sam Darnold. I like Dak Prescott here.
I like most of the options for the Cowboys this week.
Elliott's in for a bounce back. He's strong. He's had a couple rough weeks in a row.
Yeah, he's
For his standards, at least.
yep. Elliott's gonna do well. Amari Cooper, I believe, is projected to play. Right, he's not injured.
You would have to check. I believe he's questionable right now, but I think this comes down to Sunday. I don't think he's going to be cleared right now, as far as
Right.
what I'm saying. I like Michael Gallup. He had that
Gallup
very
is
good
really
touchdown
good, yeah.
catch. He looks impressive. He looks every bit as good
And
as
Gallup was one of my
as,
sleepers
Amari
going into the-
Cooper.
yeah.
He's faster than Amari Cooper. Gallup is definitely a nice option. He's a flex option, a very nice option there.
Yep. Not sure if I need one of the tight ends to kind of like step out in front of the other in order for
It's hard to predict because they're both kind of like touchdown dependent. Like they need
Yeah.
the touchdown.
I agree there.
So it's not an appealing option to go look at tight end there.
I agree.
Tony Pollard, you definitely want to hold on to him if he's available in any leagues. Go get him because even if Zeke plays, they're still going to use him. So
Are they?
yes,
Okay.
definitely.
I haven't been watching the Cowboys, so I don't.
But yeah, we'll get into the Jets real quick. Obviously, you're not. I wouldn't start Sam Darnold. He's outside the top 12 for me.
Yeah.
This helps Le'Veon Bell. Defense is going to have to respect the pass now.
Right.
This makes Jamison Crowder flex worthy. Chris Herndon, a guy that's coming off suspension, it looks like he got an injury in practice.
Hamstring injury, expected to miss the next 2 weeks. So it's
So that's disappointing because he's
Yeah.
actually a promising young player, and coming off the suspension, he was someone that a lot of people had stashed because they wanted him. So
Yeah.
that's disappointing.
I agree. So a lot of the Jets options I wouldn't really go into. Le'Veon Bell, if he does not perform well this week, is a buy low candidate because I think he's going to pick it up.
And
Whether
the
it be this
schedule's
week,
got to ease up a little bit.
yeah,
Even if he has another struggling week, he's definitely, like you said, someone you want to go look at because the owner of Le'Veon Bell, he hasn't been amazing this year, so you might be able to get him.
right. And I'm picking the Cowboys to win this week. I think the Cowboys handle the Jets with ease, with or without Darnold.
Yeah, I got the Cowboys as well, like you just said. With or without Sam Darnold, the Cowboys are just a better roster.
Yeah.
I don't love Jason Garrett, but I think he's better than Adam Gase.
Oh, anyone's better than Adam Gase.
I think the Cowboys, like I just said with the Falcons, they have expectations. The Jets don't.
Yeah.
Cowboys are expectations make the playoffs. Jerry Jones is obviously active. He wants to win.
Yeah.
So
And they got embarrassed by Green Bay
they got
last week.
embarrassed. Yeah.
So they're going to look to
The game was
take
not
out
as close as it looked. The
Yeah.
Packers took their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
That game was ugly.
Going into half, yeah. I think it was a shutout going into half, wasn't it?
I don't know if they were shut out, but it was definitely.
It was pretty close.
It was handily like going into halftime. The Packers were just looking to get out there healthy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, we both have Dallas in this game.
Yeah. Going into the Titans at the Broncos, rounding out the 4:00 matchups. Titans offense going at Denver into the high altitude. Not sure if I like Marcus Mariota. I imagine you're not starting him most weeks unless the matchup's favorable. Do you agree? Is that a fair statement? Or?
He's a stream option. Not this week, but he's not like a guy that you own and you're playing him every week. He's a guy that you might play a couple weeks if your guy's on bye or has a bad matchup.
Right. And then Derrick. I forgot Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry. He's been playing pretty well this year. The Broncos' run defense isn't as good as what it used to be. So I think Derrick Henry's still a running back too. At the very least, he's a flex option. So I think Derrick Henry will play well. The whole wide receiver core, and besides Delaney Walker, who I think is injured.
Walker has been banged up a little bit. You have to check to see if he's active.
Yeah.
If he is, he's definitely better than throwing a dart throw at James O'Shaughnessy or some other guys out there.
Right, I hear you.
But
yeah, a lot of the wide receivers there, like A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, they're all just kind of all right, well, we're just going to spread the ball around, and whoever gets a touchdown, you're cool, or whatever, you get a star, you know what I mean? So it's
you get an A+. It's like back in elementary school where they put a sticker on your paper. Hey, good job.
Hey, good job. You caught a touchdown.
I didn't get a star. Oh, Jimmy, you gotta come see me after school.
So
we gotta go talk to your parents.
Oh, okay. So the Titans wide receivers.
No throwing pencils in class.
Yeah. Same assessment. Yeah, same assessment with the Titans wide receivers weekly. I'm just not too high on any of them, but I'm not too low on either of them, anyways.
Yeah, like you just said. The Titans' offense overall, the only guy I'm really high on is Derrick Henry because the volumes there running the ball. If Delaney Walker plays, he's probably in that low-end tight end one.
Jeez. He's played terrible. He had 0.9 points and had 1.5 points the past 2 weeks.
Are you looking at Walker?
Yeah, Delaney Walker the past 2 weeks.
Hey, it's better than a donut, though.
And he's questionable for this week. So, we'll have to see. But, jeez.
Well, don't disrespect Delaney Walker.
He had 20 points that first week, and he did pretty well. After that, it's been kind of
he's in his mid-30s. Don't disrespect him.
Oh, so we're going to talk about him like we did Greg Olsen.
The Broncos, I talked about the Titans' defense against the Browns week 1. I said the Titans are good on defense.
Yeah, they're better than what people think.
I don't love Joe Flacco here.
Stinks.
I like Philip Lindsay here. Some people don't like him.
No, I think this is going to be a good week for him this week.
I don't love Emmanuel Sanders. He's been banged up.
I think Sutton is going to start becoming the number 1 receiver in that team.
But we said that. Okay, this is what I think. I think they're both talented guys.
Okay.
And I think each week it could be either guy.
Okay.
It's kind of like I like Sutton. He looks promising. It's been back-to-back good weeks for him. But Emmanuel Sanders is still not a scrub. And given the matchups, it could be either guy one week. And I don't think Joe Flacco prefers one guy to the other. I think they're getting targeted pretty evenly. It's just Sanders is getting the tougher matchups at cornerback.
And you know what? That might be the case. But I think Sutton has been playing really well. I think over time, and it might not even be this year. It might be next year where he just becomes the number 1 guy in that team. Cortland Sutton has looked really good for the Broncos this year, even with Joe Flacco, quarterback, who stinks. So, yeah. Noah
Who would you
Fant.
rather have, Kirk Cousins or Joe Flacco? There is no option C. It's A or B.
Well, you're talking about toilet paper or what you use to wipe toilet paper with. So it's
What do you wipe toilet paper with?
Or no, never mind. What
do you wipe toilet paper with? Paper towel?
You guys knew what I meant. Anyways,
Who would you rather have?
who would I rather have?
I'll tell you, I'd rather have Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl. And I'm not saying, like, I love Joe Flacco or he's still the same guy,
Jeez.
but Flacco's got a Super Bowl on his resume.
And you know what? Yeah, I think Joe Flacco's more of a, at this point of his career, he's starting to become more of a game manager than he is
Kirk Cousins is $84 million game manager, so...
Well,
All right, I don't want to spend a half hour on this question. I don't think you'd go that deep in thought. I thought you'd just tell me who'd you rather have, and I told you no option C.
Okay.
We talked about Lindsey and the running backs. Lindsey to me, he's a low end RB2.
I
like Lindsey because he's evolved in the passing game.
Yeah, that, and I say Freeman's eventually going to take over the passes. I gotta see it before I believe it because it's week 6 and it's starting to
Well, you were seeing it to believe it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was really high on Royce Freeman. Now I'm starting
to quote Garrett, and I will quote him because I texted him a couple days ago.
This is
and
bad.
I asked him, I was like, are you regretting this Philip Lindsay trade? Do you want him back? Because he traded me Philip Lindsay for D.D. Westbrook, and he told me no, and you can quote me on that. So I'm quoting you on that.
Oh, that's not what I told him.
Philip
Okay.
Lindsay is not... Okay, you want me to pull up the text?
No, please.
Oh, no, hold on. I'll pull up the text.
But I thought he was going to quote me on a different text.
No, but Philip Lindsay he's not a top 12 running back.
No,
he's a
running back
he's
too.
A top
He's
25 running back.
I agree. And he's been playing a lot better than what I thought he would.
I'll get to Garrett's text here as we keep going.
Yeesh. All right. Noah Fant's a dart throw, and I'm picking the Broncos to win this game because I think Titans are like up and down by the week, and they're really not a reliable team to bet on or to really predict a win. So I think the Broncos come out of here with an you can call it an upset, and I think they do better than what people will project them.
Game pick here for me. I'm taking the Titans. They play up and down their competition. That's just normal what they do.
Okay.
Obviously, the Broncos are not good, but I just think the Titans are a better team than the Broncos.
And you like their defense better.
Yeah, I like the defense. Defense travels.
Do you like it better than Denver's?
Yeah, because Denver lost Bradley Chubb. They have one good cornerback, but their other corners are nothing special. It's average.
All right.
So they're not the defense that they've had where Von Miller's a good player, but he's not the same wrecking force that he was when he was the MVP of the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
All right, getting to the next game before he pulls up that text. Sunday Night Football, the Steelers at the Chargers. Devlin Hodges, the third-string quarterback, looking incredible versus the Ravens in overtime.
All right. I got to get to this real quick, and this is to quote Garrett.
Oh, geez.
This is Garrett's opinion on. This is a little
No,
bit
listen,
of a text.
this is not.
There's game logs. This is the text log between me and Garrett. I said, "You want Lindsey back?" He said, "Nope. Once Freeman comes back, he won't have much value." I said, "Freeman has been back." Garrett, it sounds like a game show or something. He says, by midseason, he'll have no value. I said, no value, question mark? And he says, you can quote me on that, period. Not like you can quote me on that, ha. It's you can quote me on that, period, like that's a statement. All right, Garrett, let's see if you can recover from that.
Jeez. Well, I just had an amazing take of Devlin Hodges doing amazing in overtime. He's
Are you gonna quote us on that one too?
Listen, buddy, this the after show might not look as pretty as you want it to be. Devlin Hodges is gonna get destroyed by the Chargers defense. Don't start him this week. I don't imagine many people are, anyways. Scary hit on Mason Rudolph. It was Earl Thomas that hit him, right? And
he got hit by a couple defenders. I think Thomas was one of them, and then there was one of the defensive linemen.
A lot of people are looking at him as the main culprit, I think. Which, I mean, you're right.
I don't think it was necessarily a dirty play. I think it's just bang.
Yeah.
Football is a fast sport.
I agree.
If you never played it, it's like it looks. You watch a slow motion play, and you're like, well, what's he doing that for? Well,
yeah.
They don't have time to. It's not slow motion in real life.
Yeah.
The NFL is fast. People watch college football. When college to pro is even fast, like. Everyone's fast. Defensive linemen are fast. You see Baker Mayfield, he can't run away from defensive linemen. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a bang play, and I don't think it was a dirty play as far as, like, he wasn't trying to hurt the guy. So,
yeah.
It didn't look good in slow motion, but people got to realize
Yeah, and
players are
my
moving.
mother, big Steelers fan, was very mad at the Ravens that day. But you're right. Football's a fast sport. I don't think it was a dirty play. Prayers up for Mason Rudolph. Getting into the game, James Conner against the Chargers defense. The run defense, I think, is pretty good. And James Conner will have a pretty. I don't want to say a bad day, but he's not going to be playing up to what he's looking like, which is, a lot of people value him as an RB1 this year, which he hasn't played a whole lot so far up to that level. The Bengals game was like his real breakout game,
Yeah.
but this is not the Bengals. This is the Chargers. Anything to say about those two guys before I keep going?
James Conner to me is nothing more than a running back 2
Yeah.
this week. You talked about their quarterback. I don't love streaming him at all. Juju Smith-Schuster, I don't love this week. He's actually kind of salvaging his season as far as he's getting 70 yards and a touchdown, but it doesn't look good if they're playing their third string quarterback and they're at Los Angeles. This is not great for him. And the Chargers have a good secondary. They don't have Derwin James there, but Schuster is a better player than his fantasy value holds up to. So I don't love him here. I'm forced to play him as a flex option.
Okay. I would say more wide receiver too, but we'll have to see. And we don't know how Hodges is going to, target people, right? Like he might, like Mason Rudolph really tried to spread it around. Hodges might just be like, you know what? I know Juju. I see him on TV.
He's on the same team.
Well, he might be, I don't know if he dresses or not before. Actually, yeah, he did. Before, never mind.
All right. You're getting off track here. The Chargers. We'll get into the Chargers real quick.
James Washington, streamer, you play. Same thing, a lot of these guys you got to, kind of reconsider. Some of these guys that we just kind of threw, under the dirt and, kind of didn't really think about. Vance McDonald.
Under the dirt.
Or I don't know.
In the dirt?
In the dirt, yeah. Whatever the saying is.
I don't know you could get thrown under the dirt.
I was gonna say under the bus, but that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the saying. Get thrown under the bus. That's
a
saying.
different. It's used for different.
All right,
terms.
moving on to the Chargers here.
Also, Vance McDonald could be a tight end 1, but we'll have to see. Don't start him.
He could be, but don't. All right,
I gotta
Phillip Rivers is a good play here.
I agree.
It's at home. The Steelers are okay on defense, but I see a good spot here for Rivers.
Yeah.
I think this is the game where Melvin Gordon. Where did I get Ingram? Melvin Gordon will actually have a good week this week. He's in his second week active since returning. Eckler, he had over 10 catches last week. He's still a good PPR.
He's
option.
the PPR guy, and Gordon's the standard guy. I agree.
Yep. Mike Williams, you got to make sure he's healthy because it seems like he's always on the injury report.
If he's coming back, then I think that Allen's kind of value not diminishes, but kind of lowers a little bit. We've seen him have 2 of his worst games this season, the past 2 weeks. I don't think he continues that, but if people are offering you wide receiver 1s or running back 1s or 2s for Keenan Allen, you might want to explore that. But we'll have to see what his value looks like from here on out. Hunter Henry's still on the not IR, but he's
Hunter
still.
Henry is practicing again.
Well, he's practicing, but he's not going to play this week.
I doubt he would play this week. I think he's doubtful, but it's a good sign for him coming back because they need him.
Yeah.
Like you said, they haven't had a reliable number 2 receiving option because Mike Williams has been banged up, so they need Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
So obviously you said Keenan Allen, he's a wide receiver 1. I know he's disappointed the last couple weeks.
I don't think
but
he
that's just the
disappoints
nature of the business. You
Yeah.
know, Hopkins has a bad game. Julio Jones. Most elite players will have some bad games. It's very rare to have. Even McCaffrey had a bad game against Tampa Bay. So it's not. People have this expectation that bad game. Do I get It's not. No guarantees in fantasy. Even Mahomes had a couple not bad games. He's still over 20 points, but he didn't have that game where it's 300 yards, 3 scores. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I know what I'm getting. So every player is vulnerable to poor games. I think Keenan Allen is a good buy low target because someone may have had him. He blew up. Very good. Then he came back to earth. Someone may say, you know what? I need to move off him because I need wins.
Yeah.
And they may be concerned with him. So he's definitely someone I'm targeting in trades.
Yeah. Are you taking the Chargers in this one?
Yes, I'm taking the Chargers.
So am I.
I just don't buy the Steelers as a football team, and they're on the road. I know the Chargers don't have a home field advantage, but it's not in Pittsburgh, so it's like they're negating the home field advantage. It's basically like a neutral site game, and but it's better than being at Pittsburgh, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Where the home crowd could get in the game. They have the better quarterback. They got better offense, and I like their defense.
Yeah,
they got everything, in my opinion, is better.
Yeah, I know they already have a win, but they're kind of in that mix with the Bengals, Redskins,
Well,
Dolphins.
how bad did they look now that they traded away their first-round pick this year, which will probably look like a top 10 pick? They traded the Dolphins for Mika Fitzpatrick.
Oh, they did.
So the Dolphins, even though they look bad right now, the Dolphins could have Tua Tagovailoa.
They're going to get Tua and Chase Young. They're going to get what?
It looks like the Dolphins will have 2 picks inside the top 10.
They're going to get Tua and Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver from Alabama. They're going to get the Alabama tandem over there.
Well, I'm just saying that the Dolphins have enough draft picks where they could turn this around in a couple of years. And you've seen in football, a quarterback makes the difference. Like Watson's carrying a very average roster. Andrew Luck carried a very average roster when he was playing. So if you have an elite quarterback, Russell Wilson. The Dolphins are bad now. We're all making fun of them, but they have a lot of
They have the capital to really turn it around.
Picks,
yeah. So
moving on to the Monday night game. The Lions at the Packers. Garrett,
big game for the Lions. I would temper my expectations with Stafford. Packers secondary looks great this year. Really, they looked pretty good against Dak Prescott. Kerryon Johnson, I think, will have a good game. I like for them to ride whoever has the hot hand between Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones. I would start them both. I think Galladay's more of a wide receiver too. Marvin Jones is more of a flex option. Because Galladay is a higher ceiling, but that's known. Hawkinson is tight end 1 every week. Not every week.
He's banged up though. He may not play. He avoided the IR. He had that scary injury against the Chiefs. When
so it's looking like he won't play.
To me, he's questionable, and I would lean more that he will probably miss this game.
Okay.
Don't say that. Don't cut him or go pick someone up and drop a player. It just looks like it's more on the 51% chance he won't play. I think the Lions are in this for the long haul. They're going to be competing.
TJ Hawkinson, with a concussion, was a full go at Thursday's practice. He's yet to officially clear the protocol, but it's looking like he's going to happen shortly, so it looks like he will play.
That's what that report says, but I would say it's not a guarantee.
Nick knows more than the reporter. So.
Well, we'll see. We'll see on Monday night if he plays.
Yeah,
obviously they need him because he's a good player, but the Lions they're going to be in this for the long haul. This is an important game for them, so I could see them, trying to push him out there. But this is a game where I could see. This is why they went and got Jesse James and they signed Logan Thomas. They could get
Thomas is a.
They could escape this game. They could. I'm not saying he's not going to play, and I'm not saying that he will. I'm in the fence here. I don't. Yeah. I'm not. He could play, is what I'm saying.
If he doesn't play, does Jesse James pick up the targets that he would normally get?
He's a streaming option, yes.
Okay.
And I think in this game where you just talked about the Packers have pretty good secondary, I think where their weakness is trying to cover the tight end.
Yeah.
And they don't have Clay Matthews anymore. They don't have elite cover linebackers, so this is a game where the Lions could feature Jesse James. So if Hawkinson does miss, you could get Jesse James, and that would be an appealing flex option.
Okay. Going into
flex option, tight end option. My bad.
If your flex allows tight ends, then yeah. Going into the Packers, I would temper my expectations with Aaron Rodgers. This defense was able to stop Aaron Rodgers the past year, and they won both games against Green Bay. Swept them. Got out the brooms, right? And Matt Patricia is telling these reporters that he's scared of Aaron Rodgers, but we all know what's going on, all right? This is a guy who stopped Patrick Mahomes, not stopped, but held him to 0 touchdown passes.
Held him to 320 yards passing.
Held him to 0 touchdown passes 2 weeks ago.
You make it sound like he held him to 120 yards passing and 3 interceptions on the day. He held Mahomes to 89-yard passing a quarter.
All right, listen. All right, this is...
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. He's got a record where he can kind of control elite offenses.
Obviously, you're going to start Aaron Rodgers, but I would expect him to be a lower QB1 than a high one. Just so what I'm thinking.
You don't think he'll be high by the time the game starts?
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. Aaron Jones, I think,
What, you
will
don't
be.
get?
No, I get the joke.
What's the joke?
Well, what do I gotta explain it for everybody who's listening, or
Yeah.
Aaron Jones? Well, I think will be a good option. The Lions' run defense. Yeah, they
middle
got
of the pack right now.
yeah, they have Snacks and Mike Daniels and all these guys, but they're not necessarily stopping the high octane guys. Aaron Jones looked great last week. I think this is going to be another game where he looks good, and this might be a game where you might want to sell high on Aaron Jones. After this game, because if he does well this week, I don't think the rest of the schedule looks too appealing for him. I'd have to actually check the schedule before I make that argument.
Go look at it. It's like Miami, Washington, Detroit.
Yeah, well, they do play those teams this year, I'm pretty sure. So,
So maybe you want to take that back.
we'll have to see. So,
You talked about Rodgers. Pretty interesting note. Rodgers is the quarterback 19 on the year. So I drafted him, and I definitely didn't draft him to be the quarterback 19 on the year. So like you said, he struggled. He didn't look good against Dallas, but he didn't have Devontae Adams. I think this is a game where they featured Aaron Jones last week, and they didn't have to really stress Rodgers and that offense. I think if Devontae Adams misses this game, which could happen because he has that turf toe, Aaron Jones is in a good position here. Jamal Williams obviously had that scary injury a couple weeks ago. Doesn't look like he'll be back. They don't really have any threat behind him, so it's Aaron Jones. And so I'm high on Aaron Jones this week.
Yeah, and it's looking like Devontae Adams will come back. He's an automatic start, of course. Valdez Scantling and Allison are both flexes, in my opinion. Jimmy Graham, this could be a comeback game for him because I don't think they're going to bracket him like they did Kelsey. So this could be, and they don't have elite cover linebackers. Jared Davis is more of a blitzing guy. So this could be a game where Jimmy Graham comes out and has a nice game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that point. I have the Packers winning this game, and obviously I'm a Lions fan, but this is where my objectivity comes in here. I think the Packers have a better quarterback.
Yep.
Making plays when it matters most. I like Aaron Jones. I'm not saying I don't like Johnson, but I just think the Packers at home, it's a tough place to play. It's a tough place to go and beat Aaron Rodgers. The Lions won there because they played against Deshaun Kaiser and back when Rodgers was banged up last year and missed time.
That's wrong.
It's not wrong. Not wrong at all.
No, week 5 last? No, that was 2 years ago.
I'm just saying it's not. I'm not saying the Lions go in there and I'm confident they're winning this game.
This will be one of the closer games of the week.
They've historically struggled in Green Bay, is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Maybe in the last couple of years they were okay, but I just think the Packers are better offense, and I think they have a better offensive coaching staff. So I'm taking the Packers.
You like Matt LaFleur. All right. I'm taking Matt and Patricia. I'm taking Matt Stafford. I'm taking the Lions on this one. All right, I'm going to ride out with my team. I know I picked them to lose
no
against
bias here.
Yeah, I know I picked them to lose against the Chiefs. Sorry, right? But they lost. So, but I think the Lions just find ways to get it done. And even though they're not the more talented team than some of the teams that they've beat and played against this year, they usually just find ways to get it done. And I think this is another case of that scenario where coaching is eventually going to overcome talent. I think they have a good amount of talent this year, and I think they find a way to get it done. This is a huge game for both teams. I think they really legitimize themselves as like the standout winner of that division, whoever wins this game. And so I think both these teams are really going to have this game circled going into this week because it's the only game they play this week.
It's important to note the Lions are coming off a bye week, so that helps them.
Yeah.
They got more time to prepare. Obviously,
and it's a Monday night,
We talked about Patricia. He's a good, at limiting elite players. It's kind of like what the Patriots did. So I don't see the Lions getting embarrassed on Monday night. But
this will be one of the closer games.
I don't see them
week,
winning this game. I think the Packers, it's a real home field advantage to play at Lambeau Field. And
I agree.
The Lions, if Hawkinson's a big part of their team, if he doesn't play, it affects their running game and their passing game because they do play action fake to him. So, it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be better than what we saw last week against, the Browns and 49ers. And the Jets. There's been some bad Monday night games. After the Texans Saints and the Raiders Broncos, there's been some bad Monday night games. Bad. The Jets and Browns wasn't fun because Darnold didn't play.
Yeah.
Last week wasn't fun. It was a blowout. There's been some bad ones.
Bengals,
we
Steelers.
saw Luke Falk.
Yeah.
We saw Trevor Siemian. That's not what we signed up for, right?
Yeah. Sheesh. But I think this will be one of the better games of Monday Night Football this year. So we have a lot of differing picks. I think this will be a really interesting week to see who wins the picks.
Garrett, what is our record in our fantasy league?
I am 3-2, and why
Okay.
don't you state your record?
What's mine? I forgot.
I forgot too, so you might have to look that up for me.
Have I lost yet?
You've lost the game. You're 4-1.
Oh, so you do know. Okay.
You're 4. All right. Well, listen.
Yeah,
it's a long season.
It's
all right.
What happened is I'm like the Patriots. I get off to normally rough starts, and then I start reeling off wins.
All right. Well, we don't play till mid-season.
I'm basically what I see is I'm 4-0. I mean, the week 1 was a preseason for me.
Oh, really?
My players are warming up, and I'm on a solid winning streak. Nothing special. But
All right.
when I get to 8-9 wins in a row, then I'll start paying attention.
Jeez, this guy. This guy. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks, guys, for listening to the podcast. The best amateur fantasy football podcast you can find on the internet. And we appreciate everybody who listens to the show. Tune back in next week. We'll hopefully have a podcast in for you. Seems like we're coming up with these podcasts on the fly. So, yeah, enjoy your day, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck in fantasy this week. And when I play Nick, I will beat him.